in a deeply speciesist society, speciesists can say the most ridiculous things, and other speciesists will go, "Yeah, you're right," right?
Yeah.
Whereas what they've actually said doesn't really make any logical sense. It doesn't make any philosophical sense. Doesn't make any moral sense. But they're right because it's kind of what they also want to do. But we get trained to be animal welfareists. So there's this modern day kind of activism, which could, in my view, be really useful. What it's based on is asking people on the street, are you against animal cruelty? And they say yes. Are you against animal abuse? And what do you think that means? And when they describe it in the way that we'd expect. You know, they talk about cats and dogs and beating horses, all the stuff that you've just alluded to, right? So they do all that. And then there's a bit of a gotcha. The activists go, and what about the slaughterhouses? Right. And then the people go blank for a little bit and go, oh, well, that's a different thing and all that kind of stuff. Now, that's when their cultural understanding starts to kind of buzz in their head a little bit. Now, that's the time when vegan education should begin. What happens in this form of activism is the activist then starts calling them an abuser and calling them names and stuff. And so the opportunity, because you think they're constructing this in order to educate, they're actually constructing this because it's good on YouTube to get you clicks from
Right.
other vegans who go, yeah, you showed him, you showed her, all this kind of stuff. And so the opportunity to educate has lost. And I think that the modern day movement doesn't really care that much about vegan education. I think it's now to do with this phrase, holding the oppressor to account,
Yeah,
which is
holding like a random homeless guy who walked up to your cube accountable for what a corporation does. I hate that stuff. I mean, I've seen it in person, and I'm just like, no, this is not right. This is not what we're.
no, it's shallow. That's the real problem with it.
Yeah,
I mean, like we are human beings. I don't like this rhetoric now about we're the oppressors because we are, but we are also the liberators.
right.
Leslie Cross, one of the pioneers, said we're on the side of the liberators. Well, and another thing that gets my goat, am I allowed to say that? Is when people go, it's not our movement, it's their movement. Well, this technically is not true. Our fellow animals do not organize themselves into social movements or social movement organizations. They just
Right.
don't. We do. So we are the liberators. We are also, as a species, the oppressors. There's no doubt about that. But
Yeah.
to just dismiss, and that goes back to Yurovsky and the fact that he hates humanity. He declared once that he hates humanity, including vegans. Right. Now, I mean, where, from a social movement point of view, can you go with that? It's so
Exactly.
shallow and naive and silly and
And I think
juvenile.
I think I mean, if someone's a misanthrope, that's okay. But I mean, that's your personal attitude. It's not the attitude of the movement. It's not an attitude we need shouted out everywhere. It's not something that's gonna, help the animals.